Why does it feel like everything's getting worse? Your rent goes up, but the apartment isn't any better. You wait longer for a doctor's appointment, but the bill gets bigger. Your local business gets bought out. Prices rise, workers disappear, and somehow the people at the top still get richer. It's easy to blame inflation or bad management, or even corporate greed. But there is a deeper reason. More and more of the things Americans depend on are no longer being run as businesses meant to serve customers over the long term. They're being treated as assets to extract cash from. And one of the biggest engines behind that shift is private equity. Private equity is not automatically evil. Sometimes it invests in companies, helps them grow, and improves operations. But the model that is spread through the housing, healthcare, retail, and local services is different. It doesn't ask, how do we make this company better over the next 20 years? It asks, how do we get the most money out of this company before we sell it? And once you understand that, a lot of what feels broken about everyday life starts to make sense. Here's a simple scenario. Imagine a private equity firm buys the apartment complex where you live. The building's old but stable. The rent is manageable. The maintenance staff knows the tenants. Not perfect, but it works. The private equity firm does not pay the full price with its own money. Instead, it uses borrowed money to buy the building, and that debt has to be paid back. Not by the private equity executives, by the apartment complex. Suddenly, the goal is no longer just to keep the building full and maintained. The building now has to produce enough cash to pay interest on a much larger debt load and generate a return for investors. So what happens? Rent goes up, new fees appear, parking fee, trash fee, technology fee. Maintenance gets slower because labor costs money. The office is staffed by fewer people. Repairs get postponed because replacing a roof doesn't help the quarter's profits. And if tenants cannot pay their higher rent, the company may decide it's more profitable to push them out and bring in someone who can. It's not just a hypothetical concern. Private equity firms own a substantial share of U.S. rental housing, including apartments and single-family rentals. Reporting and tenant investigations have documented rent increases, added fees, deferred maintenance, and more aggressive eviction practices at some private equity-owned properties. But the apartment's only the beginning, because the same financial logic is moving into the places you go after you leave your home, your dentist, your HVAC company, your hospital. That's why this matters. When a normal local business needs money, it takes out a loan to expand. But new equipment and other locations cost money as well. The debt is supposed to help the business grow. But in a leveraged buyout, debt can be used to buy the business itself. That means the company starts life under new ownership, already carrying a financial burden it didn't create. The business has to generate more cash, not because it needs to improve, but because someday somebody else used it as collateral. That's why private equity can make a business look more profitable while the actual customer experience is worse. Fewer workers can mean lower payroll. Less maintenance can mean lower expenses. Higher prices and new fees can mean more revenue. Selling the real estate underneath the company can generate a huge one-time payout. All of that can make the numbers look better, but it can also make the business weaker. And the people who feel that weakness first are usually the workers and the customers. Think about your local dentist. For decades, a dental office might have been owned by the dentist that worked there. That person had a direct reason to care about reputation, trust, and whether people came back next year. But when ownership shifts to an investment firm, the incentives can change. Now the office may be measured by revenue targets, treatment volume, labor costs, and how quickly it can expand. That doesn't mean every private equity-owned firm is bad, but it does mean the pressure is no longer just give patients good care. It can become increase the return on this asset. That's a very different system. And this is the part people miss. Private equity doesn't need to own everything in America to affect everything in America. It only needs to buy enough businesses in the same local market. If a few large investors own a growing share of the apartments in one city, renters have fewer alternatives. If a handful of corporate groups own the local dentist offices, independent dentists have to compete against companies with enormous financial backing. If investment firms consolidate plumbing, veterinary care, or child care, smaller operators face pressure to sell or struggle to compete. The result is not always a monopoly in the legal sense, but it can still feel like one. Fewer choices, higher prices, less personal service, and nobody local with the power to fix it. The business model works best when people cannot easily walk away. You can put off buying a new shirt, but you can't always put off fixing heat in the winter. You cannot easily shop around when you need emergency medical care. These are not ordinary markets. They are essential parts of life. And when essential services become financial assets, the customer becomes a predictable monthly revenue stream. The defenders of private equity will say that some firms save struggling companies, improve productivity, and create jobs. And that is true in some cases. The research is not simple. Outcomes vary depending on the type of company, the deal structure, and the economy at the time. But that is exactly why we need to focus on the dangerous version of this model, the one built on too much debt, short-term extraction, and industries where people cannot simply say no. Because when that version fails, the private equity firm is often protected by layers of corporate structure. The company is the one that files for bankruptcy. The workers are the ones who simply lose their jobs. The suppliers are the ones left unpaid. The patients, tenants, and customers are the ones who lose access to a service they depend on. And this is why everything feels worse. Not because every business owner suddenly became incompetent. Not because every worker stopped caring, or not because customers forgot how to spend money. It feels worse because the people making the biggest decisions are often far away from the consequences. They don't live in the apartment with the leaking ceiling. They don't sit in the understaffed waiting room. They don't depend on the job that was cut to hit a quarterly target. You see a spreadsheet. You live in a result. Private equity did not invent corporate greed. It did not invent debt. And it didn't create every problem in the American economy. But it perfected a system that can turn stable businesses into vehicles for financial extraction. Buy it, load it with debt, cut it down, pull cash out, and sell it. And if it collapses, someone else is left holding the bill. So when you wonder why rent is higher, services worse, local businesses are disappearing, and the people in charge never seem accountable, look past the logo on the building. Ask who owns it. Ask how much debt it carries and where the cash is going, because the answer is increasingly not your neighborhood. It's Wall Street.